Hey YouTube, Appalachian Survivalist here. I wanted to talk a little bit about if you have an HSA card or a like a health savings account or a health savings plan, something like that, and you are able to buy medical supplies with that card, check out Amazon because there's a whole bunch of life-saving survival preparedness type things you can buy, and I want to go over what I purchased today. So we're just going to go through it here. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera there. Kind of got the tripod right where I don't want it. There we go. Okay, get it straightened up there. Okay, so I got, this is Amazon. Amazon has an entire section just for this. Gauze. You can't go wrong with gauze. So definitely, you know, packing wounds, anything you need there. I got 2 bags of these. There's, I think, 24 count, 25 count, something like that. They were like $8 a piece. So I was able to purchase that there. No out-of-pocket expense there. Sports wrap. Essentially, this is when you go and get your blood drawn, things like that. They're using this now. Why? Because it's self-adhering. So this can come in handy when you are bandaging a wound, covering a wound, after you got your forward before dressing, or you got it gauze packed in. Take this and wrap that around that wound, and it's self-adhering, so you don't have to tie it. You don't have to worry about anything like that. So definitely worth the buy there. I got a pack of these for roughly, I think it came with 1, 2, 3. I think I got a 12 pack, so I got several. The colored ones were cheaper than the flesh colored, so that's fine. But went ahead and picked these up. I think these were about $12. Israeli bandages. So the Israelis invented these bandages, and basically what they are is they've got gauze inside of them. You can pull the gauze out, pack a wound with them, and then at that point you can wrap that wound. I got about 6 of these. These were like $6 a piece, so they're totally worth it. The Israelis know what they're doing when it comes to this stuff, considering they're under attack all the time by Hamas. So definitely worth a purchase there. I use those in the military. Israeli bandages are great. I got some micro pore surgical tape. This stuff is definitely needed for any kind of wound care, anything like that. If you had like a sucking chest wound because you had, sorry, that's my ham radio back here. If you had a sucking chest wound, or you had any kind of wound in the chest cavity area where you got to worry about sealing that up, doing a chest seal, you're definitely going to need this tape to tape off your non porous barrier. So basically, I say porous, but basically you don't want any air getting into that wound. So you got to put something like plastic or a chest seal or any kind of plastic material, non-breathable material over that, and you want to tape that up. So you're definitely going to need that if you're worried about any kind of gunshot wounds, anything like that. CPR mask, definitely something that's needed for anybody who is worried about any kind of medical or emergency medical, anything like that. If you're doing CPR, if you've never done any CPR on anybody or seen CPR be done, it is very common that they aspirate or throw up, vomit, and you don't want that in your mouth when you're giving those rescue breaths. So this is definitely worth the $3 that it costs on Amazon. And again, if you've got that health savings account, or you've got that card that helps pay for your medical expenses, now we're not talking about insurance, we're talking about an extra account that a lot of jobs will have. You know, you can get this stuff for nothing, because I've always got to use it or lose it. So if I don't use a certain amount, I lose it. So I might as well spend it every time that comes time to roll over. If I've got some left over, I'm going to start ordering stuff off Amazon for emergency supplies. So we've got Ace bandage. Of course, this is Mighty X, but Ace bandages, you know, say wrapping an ankle wound, a wrist wound. If you just needed to really put some pressure on something, have some extra binding, extra gauze, whatever it would be. Definitely these are worth the buy. I think those were like $12. Some stuff in here is going to be some of the same stuff, and I've got another box that I'm going to go through that has some of the same things in here. This was great. This is a $6 buy here. This is a pulse oxometer, and what that does is, just like when you go to the hospital, they put that on, they want to see how much oxygen you got in your blood. But this also does your pulse, And what is great about this is if you're wanting to practice tourniquets, applying tourniquets in the proper place and making sure that you're cutting off that blood flow to keep somebody from bleeding out, you can definitely use this to know whether or not you got that tourniquet on tight enough. So this is great for that. This was like $3 or $4. Amazon, man. You know, some people are against Amazon just because of the fact that, you know, it's taking the mom and pop shops out, and I get that. However, I can't go to the mom and pop shops and use my card. So might as well use it while I can, because we don't know what's going to happen in this world, right? Okay, so I've got a SAM splint. I've used this helping out medics and things like that in my career. SAM splints are awesome. Instead of having to take two boards or two rigid items, try to wrap them, make sure they're positioned right, SAM splint is perfect for anytime you've got some kind of wound. You can ball this up here, put that on. What's really cool is it kind of will take the shape of the body however you're wanting to do it. So if you're wanting to splint that wrist, I can then take some gauze, take some of that ace bandage, wrap it around there. That's going to hold that pretty tight, hold that steady. And they've got, what's really cool is they've got instructions on how to do it all. You can kind of get measurements there, kind of know where you want to do it, so you're making sure it's even on both sides. Just a great little thing here. I think this was like 12 bucks. Overall in all this, I had around $200 purchased, but again, this was not out of my pocket. This was just, if I didn't use the money, I was going to lose it, so might as well use it. First aid kit, it's just what some people call boo-boo kit, what you would basically have anywhere you look at a first aid kit. This isn't for trauma. This is for cuts, scrapes. You know, you got a headache. I've got some extra aspirin, things like that in this. But basically, my wife wanted this for the car, so I went ahead and got it for her. That way, it would be there. We've got kids, so we want to make sure we have something like that. Now, what I really was impressed with was the Molly. This is $40. I got 2 of them. This is a tactical trauma bag. And what this is what you would wear on your body armor. And this will be your IFAK, is what we called them in the Army, individual first aid kit. And what this is it's got everything you need to stop the bleed. Let me just move some stuff out here. So if I want to stop the bleed here, I've got everything I need. So inside here, I've got the Quick Clot trauma pack, and it comes with looks like trauma pad 5x9, Quick Clot 25 grams of that. So that's, you pull that out and you stuff that down into the wound. I'm gonna actually do a medical section, a tactical trauma and a trauma care type section. I'm gonna do a whole playlist of that. So look forward to that here in the next couple weeks. But it's got some 4x4s, some 2x2s, some gauze, anesthetic wipe, bandage, triangular bandage, all kinds of stuff in that. And that's a resealable bag. The cool part about that, that's resealable, so you can put any bloody items inside of this. This also has gloves, things like that. This kit's not completely done. This is just how it came. I'm going to change it out a little bit, make it my own, add to it. But here's some more gauze, compressed gauze. If you're an Army guy, you know what this is, nasopharyngeal airway. If you've got someone who's gone unconscious, or even if they are conscious, either way, if they're having problems keeping an open airway, you can shove this down their nose. There's a way to do that. We'll probably do a little video on that, but there is a way to do that. This goes in their nose, keeps that airway open from the nostril all the way to the back of their throat. So that is handy to have. Of course, some trauma shears. You can cut the clothing off, get to where the bleed is, get to where the problem is. Comes with Israeli bandage and a SWAT T tourniquet. I will show you the SWAT T tourniquet here. Let's see here. SWAT T tourniquet is pretty awesome, and I recommend this if you have kids, older people, or you don't have a whole lot of room to put a regular style tourniquet. This tourniquet is essentially just a giant tourniquet like the ones they use at the doctor when you're drawing blood, but this is just wider, so it's not going to cut into the skin. And essentially, if you can kind of see that, as you're wrapping it around that person's limb and you're wanting to cut off that blood flow, you want to pull it tight enough that that oval becomes a circle. So you want that oval to look like a circle. And then you keep, and the diamond also needs to look like a square. So you keep wrapping that around, and you got plenty to wrap here. And by the time you get that wrapped, these actually get a lot tighter than what a basic tactical tourniquet is. And I should have brought one out here. I'm out in the ham shack. I should have brought out a tourniquet to kind of compare, but you've seen those on some of my kit. But definitely SWAT T tourniquets, I recommend if you have kids, because basic tourniquet is very difficult to get a good tight tourniquet around that limb because of how small their limbs can be sometimes. So this is perfect for that. I use this in my job because I work closely with kids in my career. If ever there would be a situation, I want to know that I can be able to take care of them on that. So that's just kind of the run through there. Like I said, there's all kinds of awesome things you can get. Amazon, they have a whole page or a whole section there devoted to medical trauma supplies. Or not medical trauma, but medical supplies, and you can find all the trauma stuff in there. But the nice part is most everything in here was HSA HSA Health Savings Account certified. So you can buy this with that Health Savings Account if you're like me and you got to use it or lose it. Totally worth it. Excuse me. Even if you don't have that HSA or that card, there's another name for it. I want to say it's Thrift Savings Account, but I don't believe that's what it is. But then definitely it's worth even just, take a little bit of extra money here and there, buy some things, add to your medical kit, because, in a grid down situation, an emergency situation, like we're even looking at snow the next couple of days. So if something would happen and a squad couldn't get out here, or I can't get to a hospital, I need to be able to keep my family alive until I can get them somewhere. So anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. You got any questions, got any comments? I will put a link to the Amazon page. There's a whole section there. I'll put a link to that section for the actual TSA or HSA approved. I keep saying TSA. HSA approved stuff, which is everything that I showed you today. So definitely worth a look. If you have one of those cards, definitely worth it. But pretty soon I'm going to be splitting a lot of this up. I'm going to be making a medic bag. I'm going to be putting some of this stuff in the bug out bags, and then I'm going to also have a home bag and a truck bag. So you'll be able to see how I split some of this stuff up, try to make it work. Probably going to be making another order here soon because I still got some left over on that. So just wanted to give you guys a quick review on that. Be sure to like and subscribe, comment below, and as always, God bless.